Hi, everyone. Business editor for PAX Tech Magazine, Robin Truman here. Today I have with me Alan McInnes, Vice President Business Development from Unum Aircraft Seating. Thank you so much for being with us today, Alan.
Our pleasure as always, Robin. Our pleasure as always.
Alan is joining us live from Aircraft Interiors Middle East at the Dubai World Trade Center. Event organizers have said that there would be a focus on cabin retrofit and modification strategies aligned with extended fleet life cycles at AIME 2026, as well as a focus on connected aircraft cabins. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you're seeing these topics on the expo floor?
Well, I mean, I sound a little bit like a broken record with this one, but the message loud and clear that I'm picking up on the expo floor is people want to talk about retrofits and long-term fleet strategy, but the principle in the business class area which we focus on is that still capacity is very, very limited. The reason that Unum exists is because we identified in 2019 when we ran the business plan that there would be a capacity shortfall in business class. And despite 2 years of COVID, that problem and that issue has only got worse. And we're seeing it from kind of top to bottom through, in the airline customers that we speak to, that while there's an appetite to do more retrofit programs driven by fleet strategies, capacity in the marketplace is very, very limited, and airlines put requirements out into the marketplace. And unless you're putting a large number of seats onto the table, a lot of the vendors in the sector are no bidding, and that is now sort of permeating through all the cabins, not just business class. So we can talk about cabin retrofits and modification strategies, but the principle is that capacity is still very limited to enable those retrofit plans to be executed. And our foresight back in 2019 when we looked at the data, and it said there's going to be underserved airlines and underserved aircraft, and that has very much come true. As I say, forced by acquisition of wide bodies. There's a number of late programs running on the major airframes, so airlines are keeping aircraft longer. So as part of a lease renewal or an extension of life, they have to consider retrofit, and then we go back around that loop of the line fit market is very buoyant because the OEMs are delivering more and more aircraft, but the retrofit market is even more buoyant, and the industry needs capacity.
Fantastic. And what trends are you seeing in terms of brand differentiation and emphasis on helping airlines build passenger loyalty?
Well, I mean, I see a number of things happening across the piece, and looking globally rather than just within the Middle East region. The things I see is building a brand around the product. So instead of talking about a generic business class, airlines are focused around a product name and look at how they brand market themselves in total. So a total product brand marketing. So that's definitely one way. I continue to see lots of innovations in cabin ambience. So the things I talk about in cabin ambience, and again, I feel like I'm a broken record because we have talked about this before. But in what you can do with mood lighting around the business class suite, how to create that ambience, and taking that influence from luxury hotel sector, about creating that ambience. But back to the core point is that seats have to be comfortable. You can have the most ambient environment in the world, but you have to focus down on the comfort. So I think there's a realization that simply adding more and more and more and more features to seats makes them more complex, makes them more difficult to maintain, and makes them heavier. And what we would like to see is airlines put comfort at the core and delivering that comfort message to their passengers. That's definitely what we've strived to do. And comfort is very experiential, as are many of the other things we talk about. And in terms of connectivity, for the first time, I think I've flown like 8, 10 sectors this month, and on every flight I've been connected. Now there are lots of vendors out there, but the one making all the headlines kind of not a week goes by without another announcement about a Starlink connectivity piece. But the reality is, sitting on an aircraft and your WhatsApp's going ping, 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 ping. Some people might like it, some people might hate it. So definitely seeing that connectivity piece, and again, you look at another core piece of the business class product in flight is the IFE. Content libraries are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the systems have to accommodate that. But still, a remarkable number of people still watch the map.
Absolutely. And so, in terms of that comfort that you mentioned, how are the expectations for premium cabins different from carriers in the MENA region versus other regions? And how are you seeing that reflected on the show floor at AIME?
Again, I mean, that's fundamentally expectations need to be managed. And I see many airlines that have come to me over my career in different vendors, and they say, I want seats quickly. And some airlines, no names mentioned, have unrealistic expectations about how long it takes to design, customize, and certify a seat. And that's been well documented in the industry. But when we still see airlines come to us and say, I'd like a ship set of business class seats and I want you to deliver it in 6 months, that is just not going to happen. So we have to set those expectations, and the airlines have to set those expectations internally, because sometimes it's the big boss says, I need a new business class seat and I need it quickly. But a well executed retrofit program, or a well-executed customization program allows those airlines to express their personality. And what I think we do is we provide this blank canvas for airlines to engage with the design community. And there's lots of fantastic industrial designers out there across the regions, and it's the industrial designers that create this mood, this brand, this ambience, and reflects the personality of the airlines. And for sure, the airlines in this region have done a great job of reflecting local culture, local colour palettes, and what they've done. But dare I say it, it's their fantastic designers that have created that, and our role in that is to give the designers the freedom to create, and that's why I say we have a blank canvas that is available for the airline, provided there is enough time in the program to run whatever tests, and it might be flammability on a new covering on a seat, or whatever it might be. As long as we have that time in the program to manage the expectation, to create the brand personality that the airline wants, and reflect the brand that they want to put in front of their culture, and maybe in many ways that's no different across the globe, but definitely what we see is this uniqueness of the Middle East region, and the airlines here have been extremely good at doing that. So hats off to them, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are some of the key themes or conversations from AIME that you're hoping to see continue at AIX in April?
Well, I mean, it's been a really interesting show, because the show is much bigger. I mean, it's probably 25 or 30% bigger than it was last year when we spoke. But very interestingly, the capacity, or the additional visitors and additional exhibitors are mostly dominated on the MRO side, and I feel very sorry for the the interiors exhibitors because they have been scattered around the hall, and it's been quite difficult to find them in amongst the big behemoths that are the MRO suppliers. So, it'd be a seating supplier in one corner, a coverings supplier is a 15-minute walk in another corner. It's great to see a vibrant industry, but it's been more of an MRO event than an aircraft interiors event. And again, I sound like a broken record, but Hamburg is everything in interiors, and there is no event anywhere that comes close to what Hamburg now is. In many ways, we have created a monster. So what we've used this event for is kind of as the pre-Hamburg warm-up, because Hamburg becomes a pressure pot of you've got half an hour in your dance card and you're trying to see hundreds of airlines over the 3 days of Hamburg. So what this event has been very good is enabling us to meet with airlines and lessors in a little bit more of a relaxed manner, to do the introductions, to get to know what they're looking for, and then we can do a far more focused session around the seats at the Hamburg event. So it's been a very interesting event, as I say. On the MRO side, the MRO sector must be absolutely booming, given the volume of exhibitors and the volume of attendees at the show. But the interiors has been a little bit spread out, and that's my view on that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Alan. I really appreciate you taking the time to give us some insight and join us from Dubai today. For PAX Tech, I'm Robin Truman.